Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's Network 216 exclusive, your Cleveland Browns free agency preview show. I am Tyler Johnson. I am joined by Zach DeFranco, Jacob Roach, Eddie McDonald, and Mikey P. Gentlemen, how are we doing on this fine Sunday evening?
Excited, man. We're almost there. What are we, like 16-ish hours away from legal tampering, and we're already getting Payne. Yeah, right. The big quotes there. Payne's already signing. We got the Jalen Ramsey trade already, man. Buckle up. It's gonna be a fun ride.
Yep.
It's always
one of the best days of the year. It's Selection Sunday, and then the legal tampering. So free agency begins tomorrow, essentially. So it's an exciting time. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I mean, great segue there, Eddie, actually. So everyone that is joining us tonight, first off, we appreciate you joining us, spending some Sunday of your evening with us. But also, be sure, we actually just sent out a link. You can go join the tournament challenge for Network 216, and the winner is going to have a choice of an Ahmed shirt. So it's free to join the group. Just go click the link that we've shared at Network 216 on Twitter, and you can enter the tournament challenge. But also, if you're joining us tonight on Facebook and Twitter and you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, be sure to go over and subscribe to the channel, which you can do so for free. It not only is good for you because you're entered in for exclusive giveaways that we have only available to YouTube subscribers, but you also have the opportunity to have access to all the shows that we have daily on the channel. So go over, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Gentlemen, free agency has, legal tampering is technically tomorrow at 12 o'clock, but we know that there have pretty much been talks since the NFL Combine. The latest news, though, a little bit concerning if you're a Browns fan wanting them to go after a big-name defensive tackle. According to Aaron Wilson, he is reporting that Javon Hargrave, Eagles defensive tackle and the top defensive tackle on the market, is looking at expecting a contract between $22 to $20 million a year. So I wanted to start there. What are your guys' thoughts on adding Javon Hargrave, and is that a move that the Browns need to be making to improve the defensive tackle position?
I'll go first then. Okay. No, I like Javon Hargrave a lot, and I'm hoping that the age factor being on the other side of 30, like me, it's unfortunate we fall apart about this age, and I'm hoping that lowers that number comparatively to Daron Payne, because Payne being 26 and still several years younger in his prime. I'm hoping it's down. If that number's 20, I'm not doing it. There's too many other places. I want multiple defensive tackles, and I'll get there in a minute. That I have one guy that I want to pair with all of them. He's my little white whale, and we'll get there. And I know some of you guys like the same guy that I do as well. But I want an edge. I want another D tackle. I can go to like 17. Anything above that, especially for a guy on the north side of 30, who is playing his best football. Yes. No, man, I'm out on Hargrave at that number.
I don't ever think about money when it comes to this. I used to be like, oh yeah, we can't sign him for that. First off, I can't sign shit. Second off, it's not my money. So I don't care what they do. As long as we improve, I said this on my show last week. As long as we improve, I don't care who it is and what the cost is, because we just clearly went out and got Deshaun Watson and gave him $230 million. And obviously, Andrew Berry's going to figure out the cap and how to kick a lot of this money down the road for a lot of these players. So it's not my money. So if we can go out and get Hargrave and, maybe like one of those other, I don't want to call them B tier, but like the lesser value of the lesser contract guys. Okay, great. Or if we can get a Bates and him and a couple of those D tackles, great. Whatever we spend, it's not my money. So I'm not going to lose sleep. We gave him, whatever. Odell Beckham Jr. wants $20 million. We'll talk on him in a little bit, but whatever Andrew Berry says, hey, this is going to improve our roster. It's going to put us one step closer to the Super Bowl. Sign me up for that.
Whoever. Yeah, but it's not a one position fix on the defense right now. So,
right.
Like Jacob said, split that up a little bit, bolster up the defense line as a whole. Go get one of your top safeties, Thornhill, Gardner Johnson, Poyer could make a return like Tyler's been talking about for a while. Like it's not just a one position fix. So I don't see us paying $20 million to a defensive tackle. AB's never done that. I don't think he's really even paid over like $6 million to a defensive tackle.
Well.
So, but hey, it could be the year it changes. You went and got your franchise quarterback. It's time to go all in now, and it's literally the time to go all in. So we'll see.
I know Mikey's got an opinion. I see something brewing over there. he's like, let me loose, boys.
I don't know, like Javon. That's a lot of money to pay a guy on the other side of 30. The guy I really want is Draymond Jones. Like that's
there we go.
That's my D tackle scenario. Like sign him. I think you could probably get him around that, maybe 15 to 17 range. You're going to have him potentially longer also. And another guy you might be able to get on the cheap. I don't know what Fletcher Cox is looking for, like to come in and play. Like he's a guy that, maybe could come in on a one year deal. And not ask for a ton of money. Like I think he just wants to play for a contender at this point of his career.
Yeah. I Mikey P, I'm right there with you on Draymond Jones, but real quick on Hargrave, the fact that he's 30 years old and wants that much money is what just turns me off to him personally. Like if we went out and got him, would I be upset? I'm not going to be upset whatsoever. Right. I just rather take that money, and I rather, one, get Draymond Jones, two, try and find a way to get Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and roll. Because Draymond Jones, I have something on Draymond Jones. So people close to saying Natchez, because that's where he's from. He and his girlfriend, his girlfriend's currently pregnant right now. They want to return to Cleveland. Like ideally, that is the scenario that they want. He did an interview with Mary Kay Cabot, which I thought was very strange in the timing of that.
Yeah, exactly.
He wants to come home.
Sunday, like, dude. Yeah.
He wants to come. Draymond Jones wants to come home, and I don't think. I mean, we'll do predictions because I know that's a big part of this too. I originally had us getting Jesse Bates, but then I think the Falcons are just going to outbid us and give him crazy money. So I think Draymond Jones is going to come here. And Mikey P, I'm glad you mentioned the $15 million a year range. Aaron Wilson's reporting 17 to 20. I think Draymond Jones would take something around 13 to 15 million a year to come home. I really think you would take a little bit less. People are saying no one takes hometown discounts, especially your first contract. There are certain exceptions though too. You don't come out and do an interview the day before this is about to go down, saying you want to basically come back to Cleveland. Like, let's just say what it is. I think this is a guy that seriously would take $2 or $3 million less to come back home.
Well, in the thing about that, you talk about the doing the interview. You did an interview with a Browns insider, and I love Mary Kay, but that's what she is. She's a Browns insider. So doing this interview, that the way, even if you didn't intend it to sound the way it sounded, which you did, but even if you didn't, you knew how this would get spun in Cleveland media just because that's what you did. You served it up on this night. Yeah, he was sweating thinking about Hargrave. And you served it, but you served it up on a giant platter for him. Listen, like one side note on Hargrave, and I'll move on, but Hargrave in 7 seasons, 18 and a half of his 37 and a half career sacks have come last year. So before that, it was like 2 sacks, 6 sacks, 4 sacks. And don't get me wrong, that's great. You got better at 28 and 29, but history doesn't show that you'll continue to get better and put those numbers up. You're starting to get to that age where you're going to start to go back down. That doesn't mean he won't. I'm just saying at 30, that age, those numbers, those projections, all of that stuff, you're going to start that arc back down. Where Draymond Jones at 26, am I right on that?
He's 26 years old.
So you're looking at 26, and he's coming off of, most of he's got like 6.5 sacks, 6, that sort of thing he's coming off. So you're hitting that kind of number, that 26, 27, where you should be putting up the 8 or 9 sacks. You got that inside outside flexibility in a 4-3 scheme. He can kind of really play 3 tech. So, you don't want him playing the run, nose or trying to stop the run necessarily from the interior, because that's just not what Draymond Jones does. But Barry loves these guys, these positionless players. He's a positionless player. He does a weird interview with Mary Kay Cabot. I'm saying it's weird because of the timing, because I read it too, man, and I wrote an article for Browns Wire about it, and I read one thing: hey, come get me, boys. I want to come there. Like, that's what I read watching all of that. Side note, real quick, because Andrew threw this in the comments. This is interesting that 25% of the Eagles' cap this year is projected to be dead money.
Oof.
Isn't that insane?
That's nuts. And that's probably why they're going to lose 10 guys in free agency and most of their defensive starters.
And
that's how the Browns are going to be in a few years, honestly, because Andrew Berry follows the Howie Roseman school of thought: kick the can down the road until you can't anymore.
And then you trade off assets. It's what the Rams are doing. They're starting to trade off the assets.
The Saints too. I mean, like, listen, we make fun of the Saints. I mean, the Saints are what we really actually want to be. You want to keep your star players. Good teams develop the talent. In some cases, they move on. And if you go out and spend a bunch of money on Draymond Jones, Hargrave, Bates, Gardner Johnson, whatever it is, they go out and sign 2 big-name guys. Besides Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward, who is a staple of that defense that you're looking to keep in 2024, 2025? We don't know. Like, that's really – huh? Well,
Emerson.
But I mean, as far as like someone they're looking to give a big contract to, because you don't know 100% on Delpit right now. You don't know 100% on JOK. You take a shot on a free agent and these guys pan out, you're going to have to make some tough decisions. And that's what good teams have to do. They have to make tough decisions. And as fans, we hate losing homegrown talent. We do. But if you're continuing to add talent, even if you're losing some homegrown talent and you're winning games, that's really all that matters.
Yeah, the Eagles are they're kind of ahead of schedule. They were in a retooling phase. Like, the fact that they went to the Super Bowl last year, they're actually about a year or two ahead of schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, but then they're going to have to pay Jalen Hurts next year. So, whether he wants a Deshaun Watson like deal, like where he gets all the guaranteed money, or he'll say, hey, give me 80% guaranteed, and whatever. I don't know how that's going to work. He's going to get paid. Him and a few others are going to get paid next year. So they're going to restructure with that, and then his cap hit's going to be way lower for a couple years, just like Watson will be restructured this year. If they restructure how I've been seeing, he'll be like a 21.3 million cap hit, which is phenomenal, being that he was 54. He's 54 currently.
Right. Which is in and of itself an issue. Yeah, you talk about the Deron Payne re-signing, that 4 years, $90 million, which was just out of this world. I will note this, talking about Draymond Jones and those contracts. Don't forget that the way Andrew Berry has structured these contracts, the cap number in year 1 is nothing. That is how it has continued to be. That's what Watson's was. You gave David Njoku this big contract extension last year, and it actually lowered his cap from what the franchise tag was. So you got to kind of remember some of those structures, at least for this year. I'm not talking about the whole long-term outlook of the cap, but you got to remember that that's the way that he tries to set these things up in the initial year. And I think that needs to stay in the forefront of your mind when you're looking at these guys.
And going
real quick about Draymond Jones, I want everyone else's opinion on that, because this is a guy that, he's going to cost double-digit millions. Would you guys want to bring in, if Draymond Jones told you guys are Andrew Berry, we normally don't spend on D tackles, but we're really weak at that position. I know you need multiple guys, but he tells you guys, I would come to Cleveland for $15 million a year. Are you guys bringing Draymond Jones for that price, or are you looking, like you said, Zach, to bring in pay Jesse Bates in some cases, or pay Chauncey Gardner-Johnson? Like, if you have to make a choice, are you taking Draymond Jones, the inside-out versatility that he provides at D-end, defensive tackle, and defensive end, or are you taking the Swiss Army knife in Chauncey Gardner-Johnson that'll play anywhere? In my ideal world, I think they could get both and structure it to get both. But I want to hear your guys' opinion on that, because they might have to make a choice.
Dude, I really just think, I think it would be dumb to go all in on just one position this year on defense. Like I said, it's more than a one position need on defense, dude. And you just got you think you got your defensive coordinator too, a guy that's going to have a system in place that these players are going to buy into. Myles Garrett's never really had that guy next to him as well. So you kind of want to keep him happy. I would hope you do, at least. So I'm more happy with like, okay, get Draymond Jones, see if you can get some sort of a discount, maybe 15 to 16 million. I'm even happy giving him 17 million a year just because of how versatile he is. And then Gardner Johnson, Thornhill, and Poyer, 3 guys right there that instantly are an upgrade over John Johnson instantly.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I think it's just the smartest move.
Yeah, my thing with that is I just don't understand what the difference of $3 million is. Like, we're not going to pay Javon Hargrave $20 million, but we'll pay Draymond Jones. Which I don't care. I don't. As long as
Ashawn
we,
Robinson.
Age and
No, the
age and
difference
versatility.
the difference there is the difference between Javon Hargrave and whoever versus Draymond Jones and Ashawn Robinson. Ashawn Robinson's fantastic, and that's my guy for everybody that wants to know.
Oh,
That
I'm right
is
there with you, man.
about
I'm right there with you.
$3 million, 330 pounds. He does one thing and one thing only. You don't run through wherever Ashawn Robinson is on the defensive line. And so instead of bringing back Taven Bryan, for example, closer to the veteran minimum, because I think he would be a little bit less, and then getting Ashawn Robinson, who I think will have a good market because there's not a ton of one-teching nose guards out there this year that are really good, especially after you get some of these top guys like Dalvin Tomlinson. Like, I think he's going to be a little bit more pricey than like Ashawn Robinson. But I think you could get one of these defensive tackle guys and pair him with Ashawn Robinson at like $2-3 million on the cap, and that can be the difference between Javon Hargrave and Tommy Togiai on some downs versus Draymond Jones and Ashawn Robinson. And I think that when you're looking at the holistic approach, that's where I know $3 million, it's not much, but I think the holistic approach, in my opinion, that's where I see it making a difference.
No, that's fair. But to answer your question, Tom, I'm absolutely taking Draymond Jones. He says, "Yeah, I'll come here on a lesser deal. Let's get more talent with me on this defensive line. If you guys are gonna go make a move for a receiver, here's a little bit extra money for that. Yeah, I'm doing that because, like you said, he can play inside or out. So he can play edge or he can play interior. And if you get another edge guy and pair them up, and that's Miles, another edge guy, whoever that could be, Yannick Ngakoue is who I want it to be personally. And then you have Draymond Jones in the middle, and then he can also slide and then give one of those guys a break, give Miles a break, or give whoever a break. I'm taking that all day because you said what's his face? Gardner is a Swiss Army. I think Draymond Jones is that on the defensive line too. Mm-hmm. And especially with how Jim Schwartz plays defense and he has that aggressive 4-3 and spreads out the defensive line, lets them all go at like their own little, but their own angle and not just like everyone here's 2 converging and the other 2, they have their own lanes. Give me that all day.
Mikey P, what are your thoughts? How would you handle this particular situation? Because again, like Eddie said, I believe in an ideal world, you want both these guys. I think these would end up being 2 of the Browns' main targets because I personally think Bates is out at this point because Atlanta is going to give him over $20 million a year. But Gardner Johnson, we know what he can do. I mean, he can play everywhere, and he can be a ball hawk in the secondary. Draymond Jones has not reached his ceiling, but he just oozes a ton of potential. What would you do? How would you handle that situation?
If you give me a perfect world where I could either have Javon Hargrave and Jesse Bates as like tier one for both of those positions, like I would prefer personally Draymond Jones and then probably Chauncey Gardner-Johnson would be my 2 choice. Like familiar, what Schwartz could do with both of them, I think gives us tremendous upside with those 2, and I think you can get those a little bit cheaper than those other 2 also. Like I think you're getting the same value for less money. And I know that's it's the big thing with when you're looking at it from an analytics side point. You're trying to see, you want to spend money, but you have to see like how can I spread this money out so I can get the most bang for my buck.
Yeah. I mean, I really do think in an ideal world, if you can land those 2, and again, you would structure the contracts favorably, you're getting 2 guys that, I mean, Jim Schwartz would have so much fun using Grant Delpit and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson in different situations. And right there, keep in mind, the Browns are looking for a slot corner. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson has excelled out of the slot too. So there's just endless possibilities. I mean, and I even have a slot corner I want the Browns to go after for a cheap deal. Bryce Callahan would be fantastic here. So moving on, guys. Jesse Bates has been a topic for the Browns for months. Honestly, for months at this point. It's been connected that he liked to play with Deshaun Watson.
It started out as a joke that we were just trolling Bengals fans, and
Like,
then it
screw you,
became-
Bengals, and
and now it's picked up, and everyone's connecting the Browns and Jesse Bates.
Yeah.
I want your guys' thoughts on Jesse Bates, because there's a huge debate right now. People are like, I don't want Chauncey Gardner-Johnson because he's not a true free safety. And we did this with John Johnson III, and we don't want a similar situation. You have those other fans that obviously believe that Jesse Bates isn't worth the money. I want all of your guys' opinion on this, because this is a huge topic. And I do think the Browns ideally want Jesse Bates. I don't think that is a smokescreen. I think they want him. But wanting a guy and giving him the money he wants are two totally different things. So whoever wants to go, what are your thoughts on Bates versus Gardner-Johnson and that debate going on right now on Twitter?
I guess it depends on what you, in the end, it depends on what you value more. I think kind of like you highlighted. Do you want a true free safety? Do you want a guy that can do this and that? And I like Gardner-Johnson. You said it. You stole the point that I had hatched up, so I appreciate it. Just coming in there and getting all the glory there, Tyler. But the slot corner part aspect of it, because he's tremendous in the slot. And it's like, do you want more freedom with your cornerback room? Because that's what Gardner-Johnson does. It's not that Jesse Bates can't play in the slot. He's just more of a deep center fielding free safety. He's terrific in run support, actually. People don't realize how good Jesse Bates is. His closing speed. Ran like a 4.5 at the combine, but he plays faster than a 4.5. His football speed looks like a 4.4 type situation. I just think it depends. Are you really consumed with needing a deep free safety? Because if so, it's not Gardner-Johnson. That's not what he is. But he brings so much else to the table, and I think he's cheaper and a little bit, like 6 interceptions last year, man. Like, listen, a guy with 6 interceptions, man, we could have fucking used some of that last year.
And that was before the injury too. Who knows what he could have had, dude?
Yeah, and I mean, you played and you saw a difference when he was on the field and when he wasn't for the Eagles this year. And so, I don't know. Like, if you give me one of those two guys, I will do the same thing I did when they signed John Johnson. I'll probably do some dancing and some screaming and some hooping and some hollering. But if I had to go right now, I would take Gardner-Johnson. I think he'll cost less, and I just love positionless players.
Yeah. I mean, he's not going to want to be paid as a slot corner, even though we're probably going to put him there if we get him. But
wasn't Gardner-Johnson? Didn't he play more snaps at free safety this year than any other of the positions?
So he did. They moved him and Marcus Epps around a lot. They actually would, a lot of different series, they would move them. They would just keep switching between Marcus Epps, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and then they would put Chauncey Gardner-Johnson in the slot in Philly.
Yeah, so I think with how Jim Schwartz has his aggressive defense, you need that free safety so he can play free safety. Or if he says, "Hey, I need you to go check him," and put like a Delpit back. Just someone's an example. Someone's dogs are barking. That's sweet. I love that. I actually do love that. That wasn't sarcastic.
I'll check.
I do love hearing
I'll
dogs.
check, dude.
Yeah, 393.
I would sign him. Bates is fantastic. And I would love him, but I think, like you said, Tyler, he's going to be outpriced in Atlanta or wherever, fill in the blank, wherever else. Maybe Detroit. They ran on Jalen Ramsey, even though he's a different position. But I would go with Johnson over Bates, even though I would not. If we got Bates, I'm obviously going to be excited, and I'm gonna talk shit to Bengals fans, and that's going to be great. But I wouldn't take it. It's not even because of money or anything. I just feel like, did Gardner-Johnson play with Schwartz the 1 year?
He did not. He just got traded from the Saints this offseason.
Just missed. So he just missed him. But I would be excited to see how he played in that defense, because he has a lot of teammates that played with him. And, so I would want that. But if we got Bates, I'm jumping through the roof and I'm hollering with Jacob, and we're doing some dances and maybe some spring dances, bring some springtime. I don't know.
Hey, side note, prior to this year, Johnson had never played more than 69 snaps at free safety. Because in 2020 he played 2 snaps at free safety, 9 snaps in 2021, but this past year he played 393 free safety slot snaps with 153 slot snaps. But the previous 3 years He played 477 snaps in the slot, 622 snaps in the slot, and 268 snaps in the slot as a rookie. So he has definitely played more in the slot. And then you add like his box snaps, and he plays plays there quite a bit as well. But
I think what's interesting to note about that too, the fact that he played the most free safety he's played in his career, ended up in 6 interceptions.
Yeah,
right. See, so like that's why, because he's that Swiss Army knife, like you said. Like he can, if you need him to be the free safety, okay, he can be the free safety. Did it a lot last year. And if hey, I need you to go in the slot this series. Okay, cool, I got it. And then boom. So we need guys like that.
And he's so consistent out of the slot too. He only allowed 2 receptions, I think, this year when he played in the slot, dude. Like,
which I will say about John Johnson, he was a
nuts.
lot better closer to the ball than he was as a free safety. I think everyone has seen that, and I think we've all talked about that on our various shows on this network and stuff. But that's a big difference maker to have someone who is comfortable playing the free safety and then playing up somewhere like in the slot or close to the ball, wherever a coach needs him. Boom, there.
Mm-hmm.
I think too, to go along with that, Eddie, I think if John Johnson, wish him all the best wherever he ends up. If Jim Schwartz was the defensive coordinator here, I think John Johnson would have been worth the money, and we would have seen the player that we saw with the Rams.
I honestly thought they were not going to release him, and Brown's Twitter was going to explode because they all think that he's this trash player, which he's not. He's not a trash player. He just wasn't in the right scheme, and they just didn't use him to his abilities. And the defense in Cleveland was not the defense in Los Angeles.
No,
you didn't have
exactly.
You had Myles Garrett, but they didn't have Aaron Donald right there, in the middle of things to help with that. So I think he gets a bad rap. I've been very critical of him. Don't get me wrong. I've been very critical of him. But I think he gets a bad rap. And I think you're right, Tyler. If he had Jim Schwartz, then he would have been worth that much. Because that was my favorite free agent signing, all because of me in the comments. I saw her tweet about like John Johnson and the Browns would be a perfect marriage and blah, blah, blah. I was like, and I looked into it. I was like, oh my gosh, she's absolutely right. Like, this is brilliant. Awesome. And I was so excited. We got him. I was like, oh shit, and we got Troy Hill. Great. And it didn't work out.
So
real quick, before someone else jumps in, we got 25 people watching us on Twitter right now. First off, thank you guys. Second off, go head over to the YouTube channel. Like I said, you guys can go over there and subscribe for free. One, that helps our channel grow, but also we have exclusive giveaways available to only YouTube subscribers. It's a no-brainer. Go over, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and enjoy all the daily content that we'll provide for you guys.
And you can yell at me in the comments. I can't see them on Twitter, but you can yell at me in the comments on YouTube, and I will see them, and they will hurt my tiny heart. I just want to answer this question because I got asked like 10 minutes ago, and I wanted to answer it before I forgot about it. Winger BJ. Oh, that's a fantastic name. Look at that. Anyway, does getting Draymond Jones rule out a Buckner trade? It does. I will point this out about the DeForest Buckner because I did write him on it a couple of times. I was talking with Corey Kennan about this, and he said, I don't see them trading him because Indy is not in a rebuild. Chris Ballard is rather they should or shouldn't be. Chris Ballard is trying to save his job. They're not going to let Ballard try to tear this thing down and go back up. So even though there's like the rumors that they were going to trade for number 1 and all that stuff, and it hasn't happened, they're still at number 3. They're positioned pretty well because I think they love Will Levis for whatever reason. And I think we look at it as a rebuild. I don't think the GM looks at it as a rebuild, so I don't really think he's available.
Jacob, Jeremy Fowler basically said the Colts are in rebuild mode.
Well, but I think my point is they should be, but I just don't think, looking at Chris Ballard, I think he's trying to save his job. I don't think he saves his job trading DeForest Buckner. Like, they want him to get a quarterback and show progress, probably finally get the quarterback right. So, yeah, I just don't think he's going to have a fire sale. That's all I'm saying. There's
this comment that I just saw, and I was going to say something about this. What about the rumor floating Carolina might trade the number 1 overall? I saw that earlier that Carolina might, in fact, trade the number 1 pick they just got for that great haul. So they, in turn, would get a great haul. So that is someone like the Colts can move in there and be like, all right, well, if you'll give us number 1. All right, we want the quarterback we want. Mm-hmm. Maybe Levis isn't like who they is like their heart is set on. Maybe they wanted the Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, and they knew, oh crap, we're not going to get them. So let's maybe just try and get whoever we want. That's very interesting to me. And I like you said, Jacob, they aren't in a rebuild, but they should be in a rebuild. There's also a player on that team that's not DeForest Buckner that I want to see in Cleveland this year, and we'll talk later when we talk offense.
I think I know where you're going with this. Mikey P.
You got Mikey's attention really well.
Mikey P. Where would you? Because I want to get everyone's opinion because it's a great talking point, and it's a huge debate right now on Twitter. Jesse Bates is the true free safety. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is that guy that you can put pretty much anywhere, and he's going to make a difference for your defense. Do you want the guy that you're stealing from a division rival and a team you absolutely hate, or do you want the guy, and that would be, I mean, a back-end solid piece of your defense, or do you want the guy that, one, he's a year younger, but you can line him up anywhere? He just might not be that true free safety that the Browns are currently looking for.
Oh, for me, I want man, that's a tough one because Jesse Bates. I think Jesse Bates is a dynamic star player. Like, he is a great player. He would come in and change the back end of our defense tremendously. I also like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson a lot too. I mean, for me, I'm going to trust whoever Schwartz feels is the best fit. If I hope to God they have him giving him some kind of input, on the defense when it comes to free agency, which I'm sure they talk and all that stuff. I don't know. Jesse Bates would be great for Twitter.
Mikey, to add on to what you just said about who Schwartz wants, I forget who it was last week. Someone tweeted out Barry's going to do his due diligence. I think it was Mary Kay actually on the Here We Go Brownies podcast. They're going to do due diligence on everyone, and she said something about Andrew Barry always finds we see all these names: Jesse Bates, Javon Hargrave, Draymond Jones, et cetera, and there's always one name that Andrew Barry will find under a rock, like the John Johnson. That wasn't really a thing, and then he went out, he looked into it, and then she also said something about who does Jim Schwartz want. Now, if he's dead set on, hey, I want Javon Hargrave, the Browns are going to be all in on that. Or if he says, hey, get me one of these two, here's the list, like we're all talking about, the top 2 or 3 at that position. Hey, get me one of these 3, one of these 3, one of these 3, and we're good. And I think he will get some sort of say in that, because the way Andrew Barry spoke about his coaching staff, and they're all working together, and they're all on the same page, and they all have a voice. When he was on the Part of My Take podcast last week, which was fantastic, by the way.
Amazing. Yeah.
It just,
I wish we could hear him talk like that more often. I really do.
Okay, let me segue real quick since we're talking about that. So I think it was Tony Grossi bitching about it on Twitter, saying talk to us like that. I'm just like, dude, you guys ask him the same stupid ass questions every week. So and that's not all Cleveland. Cleveland media gets a bad rap. There's a lot of great people that cover the Browns that we all follow. Mary Kay Cabot's the GOAT, in my opinion. But there's certain questions they ask, and I'm just like, you ask these questions. These guys are having fun while asking informative questions. Hey, would you rather go 17-0 and lose the first round of the playoffs, or go to the Super Bowl and lose? He's like, I don't get a Super Bowl in either. I don't want either of those scenarios. I want the Super Bowl. But I do think that Schwartz will have some sort of say, and I don't know how big of a say, but I do think that they didn't bring him in for no reason. Obviously, they needed a new defensive coordinator, so it's not like they're like, oh, here's some random guy that we just brought in. Let's hope it works. A proven guy in this league, and I think he knows talent as well. So I think that you're right. That's a big factor.
That's what Schwartz got his start. He got his start kind of in the scouting department. So
exactly.
I think Mikey just wants to do whatever is going to be the most fun for him on Twitter. That's what it sounds
like. That would be awesome.
I'm just I see all this stuff coming about the Bengals, and they're talking about newsflash, they're a cheap organization. I was like, everybody's known that for years.
Yeah, what's the stuff with the NFLPA going around?
I don't.
We'll figure that out at some other point, dude. I don't know.
What is? Yeah, I saw that yesterday. I'm like, what even?
They're bums and don't want that. Don't want to have the player protection. Even though, and God bless he's still alive and he made it through all that. A player died on their field.
Yeah.
And they see that and they're like, oh no, you guys shouldn't have all this extra insurance. You guys aren't playing a car crash game literally every down is a car crash. No. We can talk a lot more about that another time. I'm gonna get too fired up about that. I don't want
He's
to.
like, we gotta stop
Yeah,
before I get up here.
I think
Yeah.
we have a great segue here. Andrew, thank you for saying. If anyone has any questions, feel free to send them in the chat, or else we'll just find all kinds of other topics to talk about.
But hold
we
up,
want to
hold
hear
up.
from you guys though too. Andrew, oh sorry, my bad.
No, you're all right.
No, he's not.
Snickers brownies? What are we? We're Snickers brownies. That's what.
Oh,
I need
Okay.
those.
All right.
Andrew,
That's
okay.
it.
Andrew,
That's
let
it.
me
Go
know where
ahead.
to find those, or if you just made them yourself, send me the rest.
So Andrew brought up a good point. Paris Campbell. He says it's not a secret. I want to talk not only about Paris Campbell, about this wide receiver free agent class in general. So you're looking at some guys that are going to get completely overpaid. You see it every single year. Now, Paris Campbell, though, to me, is interesting from the aspect he's still young. I believe he's only 26 years old, if I'm correct, 25, 26. He's also from the Cleveland area, I believe. His range could be about possibly 5 to 7 million a year. The Browns could use some speed. What is everyone's thought on Paris Campbell? Mary Kay Cabot already reported that the Browns have McCall Hardman on their radar. I don't think that's going to happen because his market's going to be insane. But what are your guys' thoughts on Paris Campbell and bringing him back to Ohio?
I would love it. That's who I was talking about earlier, and I didn't mean to think it was like a secret. Like it's not. It was just like, hey, later in the show we're going to talk about this person, and Andrew knew who that was. I forget who it was. It was Jared Mueller, or I don't know who. One of the Cleveland people that we all read every day and see what the Browns are doing. One of them said last week, here's an interesting one. Paris Campbell, he does everything the Browns need for them this year. He's a speedy guy. He has reliable hands. He just played with Matt Ryan, and I don't even know who played after Matt Ryan, honestly. I stopped caring.
It was Sam Ellinger and Nick Foles.
Yeah. Okay. So imagine him with a Deshaun Watson. He's able to stretch the field. That's a guy that,
that was his best year this year too.
Yeah, right. Seriously.
Yeah. This free agent class for wide receivers is relatively weak, which is why we hear the reports of maybe a trade for DeAndre Hopkins or Brandon Cooks or whoever else could be available. But I would love this because, like you say, he's not going to be very expensive. And I don't care about the money, but like just talking free agency stuff, he's not going to be very expensive. And then, boom, he comes back home essentially. Sign me all the way up for that one.
Yeah, I'm all for it. It's got to be the right deal. But again, you need another wide receiver, and that doesn't preclude you, whether you trade for one, draft one, whatever, from doubling down on wide receiver. Because I think if you're going to change your offense, which they are going to be opening and playing consistently out of the shotgun this year, you're going to need more receivers anyway. Man, if you can get Paris Campbell for 5 to 7 million a year, I think he could be Deshaun Watson's Will Fuller. I mean, you saw what this guy did at Ohio State with Dwayne Haskins, RIP to Dwayne Haskins. But, I mean, you saw what he did. Those two did at Ohio State. I think you get Paris Campbell, Deshaun Watson, I think Paris Campbell could be a great addition for the Browns. And it's not just because he's a Buckeye. I mean, I know a lot of our Ohio State fans, including myself, want to bring Buckeyes back to Ohio because the Bengals have a ton of them, and I would love to see more of them here. He just fits exactly what the Browns are looking for. So if he's in the price range, go get him.
He's Anthony Schwartz with hands.
There we go.
That is the best description so far. I love it.
See, I will say, I remember exactly when you were talking on Twitter last week, and you think he has upside, and I was like, well, there is cause because I hate him. Use their gift from the office.
Wait. I said he has upside as like a gadget player.
Yeah, and I said I didn't want him at all for even that, and because I hate him, and I don't really hate him. But if he rushes one time per game, we win. It's not even. We don't even need to give Nick Chubb 20 touches a game. One rush. He's rushed 4 times in his career. The Browns have won all 4 of those games. Just so we're
stats don't lie, right?
But Paris Campbell is Anthony Schwartz with hands. I love that. That just made me so happy hearing that.
I don't want to get into Schwartz because he was he wasn't even a good receiver at Auburn.
Well, that's true. Yeah, but this class of free agents of wide receivers is just ugh.
Marvin Jones they're saying Marvin Jones might get decent money. I'm like, Marvin Jones.
I mean, last year, like Tyler, you said earlier, everyone said like, oh, Christian Kirk's getting $20 million. Why do I have to? I can get more than that. And then Christian Kirk, to his credit, went out and proved why that. And he did have Trevor Lawrence, who took the next step in his career, so that worked out. So, but not all of those $20 million receivers are going to work, even though that is like the new premium for a above average wide receiver in this league, and that's just what it comes down. That's why the Amari Cooper deal is more of a steal every single day since the deal happened.
If you can get to a team with a decent quarterback, your receivers sometimes take off. Like, what was it? Willie Snead looked like a Pro Bowl player when he got to New Orleans with Drew Brees.
I mean, look at the Chiefs this year. They traded Tyreek Hill, and then they have Travis Kelce, obviously, but then they revamped their. I don't even know if revamp is right, but MVS and Juju. Juju was great for them, and so was MVS. And Patrick Mahomes threw for 5,300 yards or some outrageous number.
I think it's Paris Campbell is like the only real option if you're not trading for a guy, just in my mind. I mean, I like Trent Sherfield is fun from the Dolphins. I think he can do a lot of those same things that Paris Campbell does if you want to if you kind of want to go that realm. And there are some Sherfield. I'm saying his name wrong, aren't I? I think it's Sheffield.
Yeah, I think you're talking about Sheffield. I think
Trent Sherfield.
No, I'm right. Sherfield. Yeah, Trent Sherfield, the wide receiver for the Dolphins. That's where he's at right now.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, yeah, wide receiver wise, unless you're going to go trade for Brandon Cooks or Elijah Moore or something along those lines. I did like Terrace Marshall Jr. from the Panthers, but now they just traded.
He's their guy, man. He's their number one.
Yeah, they just traded DJ Moore, so there's you're not getting him now. So that might have been an option. You're not getting him there. And I love and Trill Hills actually just put it in the comments here. I love DJ Chark. I wanted him last year.
That. I would love that so much. I don't know why, but for some reason
the Vikings. They think the Vikings are getting DJ Chark.
Okay. But for some reason, I've always loved DJ Chark. I don't know why. Ever since he's come in the league, I'm like, all right. I saw him one time playing, when I was watching football one Sunday. I was like, oh, man, that guy's pretty solid. And I kept watching him. I was like, dude, I like this guy. And then I see that he could be available. So it goes Paris Campbell or DJ Chark for me. If the Browns do, in fact, sign a receiver, they could trade for one. Who knows?
And every Browns fan on Twitter still always has a warm place in their heart for Andy Isabella to this day. So if he's available.
Hey, yes, Andrew, this is the hoodie. This is the hoodie that you had asked about. Thank you for seeing that link and saying, hey, I can't see that. I'm glad that you said that because at first I was like, what?
Wide receivers.
Speaking of wide receivers,
are you going to go that way?
We couldn't have this show and not bring up something that I think is truly relevant. And I have to admit, I think might have shocked all of us when we saw it. Odell Beckham Jr. was working out for NFL teams on Friday.
Wow.
And the Browns were one of those teams in attendance. Mary Kay Cabot has since reported that he is on the Browns' radar as they prepare for free agency, looking at wide receiver position. She also did a very large piece on Odell Beckham Jr. and his relationship with the Browns, with the front office, with Kevin Stefanski. And reportedly, Odell Beckham Jr. was someone that talked to Sean Watson to come to Cleveland.
Wow.
And about why it was good to join Cleveland. So I want to open it up to you guys because this is a topic right now that another one that people are deciding to just slit each other's throats over. Odell Beckham Jr., let's say he does want to come back to Cleveland. Are you guys open to bringing him back? And two, at what price does that become too much for you?
Not $20 million is way too much.
Well, here's the thing.
Half of that.
It was already reported that OBJ had never made a price demand at all.
Oh, I didn't see that.
That was just coming from Florio.
Yeah, that was Florio. Pelissero, who I trust a lot more, said he did not make a price demand. OBJ 1 year deal is it fills the need that exactly what the Browns are looking for. So, yeah, I'd do it. I mean, obviously. So it makes me wonder. Like in my mind, OBJ, Andrew Berry, they sat down, and Andrew Berry goes, "We know, bro. Baker sucks. We're gonna let you have your way. Come back when we get a franchise quarterback. See, in my mind, that's exactly how it went down. You know, in the fans' eyes at the time, you're just mad because you expected this hype. You know, we got Baker, we got Miles, we got Jarvis, we got OBJ, and then it didn't work out at all like we planned. So I see, in my mind, Andrew Berry sat down with Kevin Stefanski, OBJ, and said, "Yeah, we know your dad was right. The video was warranted. Leave, go get a Super Bowl.
The IPA
come back."
from the video.
Yep.
Hey, before we go on, there is
Oh
one.
no,
safety.
there's fight in the DeFranco house.
Zach.
It's going
No.
down.
I don't know
If we get Jerick McKinnon, she'll be way happier. Don't worry.
I think she meant I'll pass to OBJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
better than 6. All right.
But I don't know if he was even going to be on the Browns' radar, if he was even going to be an option. But Tayshaun Gibson re-signed with the 49ers on a 1-year deal. So that's sort of breaking. I didn't break the news. I just read it from.
I didn't break the news.
I want to clarify with you. I don't have sources. I don't talk to people.
I need to wait for Brad Stainbrook to confirm that. So
hey, he might.
But
OBJ, I want that. I want that so badly. Just for a couple reasons. Number one, Twitter would absolutely explode. It already has sort of like exploded a little bit.
Holy moly.
Just with the fact that the Browns were at his, I guess his pro day. Basically, that's basically what it was. His rehab pro day, and they had a good relationship with him per MKC, and I love that because I love OBJ. When we got him, no one could tell me shit. I was like, yeah, we're going to the playoffs. We might go to the Super Bowl. I don't know. Like, we'll see what happens when we get there. And
hold on,
it didn't work out. So, but I want him back for that reason. Twitter, and 2, because I really do think he can help this team like actually win.
Also, we got 40 people watching us on YouTube. Just thank you.
Yeah,
First
seriously,
off,
thank you guys so much.
This has been one of the most watched shows we've had. So seriously, thank you guys.
Brownstown, man.
If you guys aren't subscribed, please again consider subscribing. It doesn't cost you anything for one, and we have daily Cleveland Browns content on this channel. So much so, at some point we do need to get some Guardians talk up here because spring training's begun. But
it's coming.
It's a Brownstown, baby. So subscribe to the channel for daily Cleveland Browns content.
I want to show you something.
I don't know if I want to see it.
Look at it.
Oh, dude, it is real.
Oh,
look at it.
Oh my goodness. Well, this is really taking a turn.
Sources confirm that they do exist.
There it is.
We need to hook Andrew up with some sort of like swag, like some sort of homage swag or something.
Yeah. If Andrew wins the Network 216 tournament challenge,
he probably will.
Well, you know what I'm going to say. You know what I'm going to say, right? I'm going to win that. So sorry, Andrew, and everyone else who's going to play, but I'm going to win that. So
speaking of winning, I was going to say the Browns might have won.
My bad, Tyler. We do this all the time, but I just wanted to bring up just a quick cheap option that we just posted on FDP, but I want to try my hand at this name, Tyler. If you want to help me out here from the Texans.
Dude, that's what I was going to just say, dude.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
You want me to do it, or do you want to do it?
Go ahead, Tyler. I'd rather not make a fool of myself.
According to Aaron Wilson, Texans defensive end Ogbenyia Okonkwo is expected to leave the Texans as a free agent.
Tyler.
Okonkwo is someone that I have been eyeing for a little while as an option for the Browns. He's expected to probably cost about $5 million. He's got some really good numbers creating pressure, and I think he is someone that could really come in as possibly an edge too. You also add a DeMarcus Walker from the Titans, and there you have your defensive ends to pair with Myles Garrett. You can rotate DeMarcus Walker and Okonkwo together. I would love it. They're both cheap. You can get them for a combined $9 million, $10 million. There you go. Defensive end sorted.
I never know which one of you two is tweeting out from the FDP page. I know you guys are all over like the news, and I said that the other day, trying to win money from Pat McAfee. You guys do a tremendous job with that. You guys see, hey, MKC said this, or hey, this person said this, and this person's linked to the Browns now, and this person's not with the Browns. All that stuff. You, Tyler, I think it was you and like 4 or 5 other people have been like adamant that this is the guy that like a guy the Browns should target. And I looked into it a little bit. I was like, all right, like he's one of those like lesser of the free agents. You know what I mean? Like he's not one of the top tier guys, but he's one of those like cheaper options that you can get. And I've been looking, I was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense from a lot of different standpoints. So that's awesome that this happened. So that'd be another great option.
Walker. Another name.
Looking
at DeMarcus Walker. He really flourished in Tennessee this past season. He's that bigger type of defensive end that Jim Schwartz likes. He's another guy that's gonna be probably $3 to $4 million a year, and he's young. He's still like 27 years old, I believe. It's a no-brainer for me. It really is. And if you can go and get a Okonkwo and DeMarcus Walker for a combined 9 to 10 million, you could focus on defensive tackle, go get your safety. You have a lot of money to play with if you don't spend big at defensive end. If you go out and get Draymond Jones for that 15, 17 million a year, go get a Okonkwo and DeMarcus Walker. There's 10, that's 25, then address the secondary. Boom.
That sounds great to me. Sold.
Okonkwo routinely ragdolls offensive linemen. Jake Burns just put out a film room on Okonkwo, so go check that out if you haven't over at the OBR. I mean, the dude, like, he's like, his run defense. I mean, listen, I know he's got the pressure rate and he's got all that stuff, but I'm a little more impressed by the run defense. He grabs a hold of these offensive linemen, and he's like, bye-bye, and he just throws them off to the side. I'm like, oh, shit. All right, so we're playing there. I wanted to real quick try to answer a couple questions we got over on the side and some comments. If we got OBJ, would we trade or sign or any other guys? No, I think if you got OBJ, well, yeah, you would on defense, but not on offense. I think you would just then go draft one, right? Like
Yeah,
I think
you would
so.
draft one to be the long
Bringing
term.
a Braxton Berrios type of guy.
It's a great name because
I do like Berrios.
I think we talked about him maybe on the fantasy show last year. I was on a show with you and Zach. Maybe it was your own show or one of the shows we did on here. And, we talked about that, and then people were talking about it on Twitter and stuff. That's a name, too, that you should look out for because he's a guy that he did extremely well with the Jets, and I think he would fit that same role with the Browns, and especially with Deshaun. I really think Deshaun elevates everyone, and everyone's going to be like, oh, in 6 games he didn't. But I don't care about the 6 games from last year. That means nothing to me, actually. The 17 coming up this year, that's what means something to me. But that's a great name, Braxton Berrios.
Thank you, Paramjot Sandhu. I apologize if I butcher your name. I really do. I want to give you a shout out for subscribing to the channel. So thank you for that. Again, I apologize if I got your name incorrect.
Yell at him, please.
Michael's
got
got
real quick, Eddie, going on that with Berrios, I don't think that Jakeem Grant is a lock by any means. I mean, to return, you bring in a guy like Berrios, there's your returner.
So with that, what did they do with Jakeem Grant? What did I saw it and then it didn't it wasn't blowing up the news feed. So I saw it quickly, read it, and was like, okay, and then sort of forgot about it. What did they do with him?
They essentially just changed contract is what it sounds like. Okay. But he's not making. I think he's making $1 million. He's not.
It's 1.7, 1.6.
Yeah, he's not. He's not making much. But even if it is guaranteed, I mean, that's not.
Yeah.
Anything significant. His cap charge this year is going to be 1.7 million, like Mikey P said. You bring in a guy like Barrios, who you could probably get for $3 million a year, I would guess 3 to 4. There's your returner. You also have another guy who has proven he's not going to light it up by any means, but he's a solid guy who can work out of the slot. If you go into next offseason, since OBJ was the original part of the question, with Amari Cooper, Odell Beckham Jr., David Bell, Braxton Berrios, you could draft a later guy, possibly a guy like Trey Palmer out of Nebraska, Parker Washington out of Penn State. You add someone like that, and you have Donovan Peoples-Jones. I think you're all set. I really do at wide receiver, so I would love it.
Lots of people showing some love to Draymond Jones and DeMarcus Walker in the comments. I agree with you guys completely. Walker does play 3-tech too. Michael bringing that up. That's great because Draymond – yeah, exactly. They do. We talked about that at the beginning of the show too, that the positionalist players, that's what this front office loves. I love it too. Because I think you finally have a creator at defensive coordinator. You finally have a guy who has perpetually showed you again and again, I can do some stuff. That he can move some people around. A lot of defensive linemen have had their best seasons under Schwartz. He's gotten a lot of people, a lot of dollars, and I still think my favorite comment of his from his pressers when we were like, oh, could you get some sacks out of Myles Garrett? And I was like, okay, all right, come on, shut up. But you finally got some guy to throw some people around. Drew says, don't talk about Bud Dupree. Me neither. I hate Bud Dupree. Get him the hell out of here.
I will say, Jacob, say, because I'm really not a fan. His projected contract's $1.5 million.
It too.
I mean, okay, there's a certain point if someone's that cheap,
exactly.
I mean, I'm not gonna be pissed. I mean,
no, but at the same sense, it's like you
Yeah,
gotta pick
yeah.
what you get, man. Like
yeah.
And first off, Jacob,
He'll be
how
back in
dare you
Pittsburgh.
think that Joe Woods didn't move his guys around? Myles Garrett got a sack from the linebacker spot, so you just relax on that. Let's just give Joe Woods his credit that 2 times he did. Joe Woods created a lot for us, actually. A lot of content to talk about and create, and a lot of pissed off people on Twitter.
A lot of
Say
pistol.
he didn't do anything.
That's
Don't
the best
say
way to sum it up.
A name that I am disgusted we have not discussed 55 minutes in. The key to the defensive line getting better is Arden Key. Arden Key, man.
Did
That's
a
why I
video
just-
on him.
Black.
If you guys missed it, YouTube
Yeah, you
channel,
did,
Browns
you
Free
did.
Agency Targets. Go watch it. It's fun. Anyway.
This is my favorite. So they talk about it. He comes into the league. He goes in Oakland first. He ends up finding his way to San Francisco before he goes to Jacksonville. And he adds some weight, some size, some strength to him as he gets kind of in there in the NFL strength and conditioning program, kind of figures out what he's doing with his body. Last 2 years, 80 quarterback pressures, and 11 and a half sacks. Put that opposite Myles Garrett. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of his he had a lot of success 2 years ago opposite Joey Bosa. Not Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa. I always do that. But, opposite Bosa.
They look the same.
Fine. We've got one of those. So go right ahead. Put him opposite. He's really explosive off the line of scrimmage, but he can switch from speed to power almost effortlessly. And not looking for him to do much in the run defense, but he signed a 1-year, $4 million deal with the Jags this year. You got to think he played well, so he'd do a little bit better than that. But again, you're talking about, like a Demarcus Walker and Arden Key.
Give me that.
Go that route too, man.
Okonkwo and Arden Key. Like, I just put those guys together.
Okay.
No, let me do something for you. Hold on, let me do this.
Oh, he's getting spicy here.
Hold on. I'm ready. I got four names. Watch this. Draymond Jones. That's the big money. That's where the money goes. Arden Key. All right. Okonkwo. Yeah. Huh? Juan Thornhill.
Oh,
dude, that right there, I'm happy with that.
That's probably like
man.
35, 40
That's a
million
way
right
better
there.
deal.
35
Oh
million.
man. And you could, Jacob, I would
Top
even
10
in some
Top
cases
10
like
defense.
even if they miss out on Thornhill, like say his market gets a little higher, just given age and need. Another name that I would even you could even insert for me, and I'd love it because he'd be a leader on that back end. And Jim Schwartz has always had good relationships with older players like that. Jimmy Ward from San Francisco, who can play out of the slot, but he wants to move back to free safety. But if you can move him around, he brings you that lead. He was a captain in San Francisco. He'd be another leader. So I love your vision though. Arden Key. I mean, guys, I did a video on him. So again, go check it out. 6'5", 240 pounds, 75.7 overall PFF grade. This guy is just fast off the edge. I don't think he ever hit a ceiling at LSU. Talk about, in my words, I would say kind of busted at LSU when he was expected to be a top 5 pick, and the guy just had a terrible junior year, and then went to the draft, had some character issues, and it just didn't work out. Jacksonville is the model, by the way, you don't follow as far as just giving obnoxious contracts to guys and then letting a majority of them leave now in free agency, which is basically what they're going to have to do. Go get if you want the guy opposite Myles Garrett that you can pair for the next 2 to 3 years while Alex Wright is growing as a player, Arden Key is your guy for the price he's going to be. If you can get him under, I say under because I don't want to go above $9 million at that point. I don't want to get into 10. But if you can stay below 10, I do it. And
I don't think
go get DeMarcus Walker.
I don't think it would be $10 million a year. But
so there's another name that I had talked about on Dog Pound Daily last week before, and Ansley brought it up. It's Sheldon Rankins.
Yes.
I didn't know if we ever talked about. We didn't talk about him, so no, we did not talk about him, Ansley. So you didn't miss that. I would be great with him too. If it came down to I don't know how much money he's supposed to be making this year.
7-ish.
Oh, okay.
He's projected 7, and then it was reported by Aaron Wilson that he is one of the players it looks like that's going to be in demand in free
Okay.
agency.
Because he
Also,
was one of my
Sheldon
guys.
Rankins, great video on him too. Man, you guys are hitting on all my all my target videos. I only had 7 or 8 of them.
Plug 'em,
So again,
plug 'em.
go check
'Cause
that out, guys.
I was doing the research
Dalvin
for
Tomlinson.
defensive tackles I can get, and Sheldon Rankins. I was like, man, this guy would be fantastic with Cleveland. You know, a veteran presence. And I was like, the more I was writing, like I was typing the words, the more I was writing, I was like, wow, like I want this guy. If the other options fall, like if the dominoes fall and he's the one that's left standing, okay, I'm not going to complain.
See,
You know that?
Eddie, I'm going to add on to your point because this is something in free agency everyone has to keep in mind. What round was Sheldon Rankins drafted?
One.
There you go.
Yep.
If there's a former first-round
7th?
pick on the free agency
I
market,
knew that.
Andrew Berry has just a radar, a zone right on that player. Dante Fowler Jr., defensive end. That's another
Yes.
cheap option they could look at. There
12.
are
He was
guys,
12.
huh?
Sorry, Mikey asked what he was.
Oh.
Rankins was the 12th overall pick. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
I knew that too because I even wrote it. So yeah, that's.
Former first rounders, man. If you're a former first rounder, Andrew Berry's got you flat on the radar.
And I love that because first rounders always have that talent. Not every first rounder is good in the situation they go to. You know, Patrick Mahomes went to the best situation possible for him. You know, there's other players that went in the first round that no, that's not a good situation for them. Or you know, they just don't work out there. You know, Baker, he didn't work out in Cleveland. He did for a year and you know all that shit, but. It happens like that, but like you said, Andrew Berry, boom, first round. Oh, you were a first round pick. Okay, cool. I'm gonna look at you. I can take you and give you to my staff and make you the number 1 or first round pick that you once were.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. That's a great point. I didn't even not think of that one time at all during all this free agency chatter for the past couple weeks. I have not heard that, and that's fantastic. I love that.
Something we got to keep in mind. Obviously, like we're an hour in. We have a great audience tonight. If you guys have questions that you want us to get to before we end the show, put them in the chat, please. Guys, are there any other players like that you guys want to talk about before we head out? Guys, you would like to see the Browns add? Doesn't even have to be a big name. Just any particular player or players. We've already hit on a ton of them. But
I mean, I'm just interested because we haven't even talked about what we're gonna do at the center position. Like,
that's where I wanted to go next. Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome, Eddie.
I love it.
It helps having 5 of us instead of like 2 of us.
I mean, do we bring back Ethan? Like, are we running with Harris? I don't know.
I think Posick is. I think he's gone.
No, I don't. MKC said yesterday that there is strong belief that he comes back to Cleveland. He wanted to re-sign here. The center market just opened up. Like there's a bunch of centers that just available.
And
Jones is available.
And that's a reason.
I think Andrew Berry has already shown. Andrew Berry has already shown that he wants to keep that offensive line intact and strong, and he's shown that by giving Conklin another contract, dude. Like that was a shock to us too. I mean, it was a shock to me. So I wouldn't be shocked if Posick is back.
Yeah,
I
wouldn't either. So, real quick, we'll get back to the center talk, but this is interesting. The breakdown on Deron Payne's contract, Aaron Wilson just released. 4 years, $90 million, $60 million guaranteed, $28 million signing bonus, and it's going to be apparently it looks like it's going to be $9 million fully guaranteed at signing, and then it looks like $19.5 million in 2025 and 16.4 million so on. It doesn't really have a breakdown year by year. It looks like 15 million per year in some cases, but he gets 60 million guaranteed, which I thought was interesting. Anyway, going back to the center conversation, how much for you guys is too much when it comes to Ethan Posick? For me, you have Nick Harris. I think you can go get another cheap guy in free agency is the thing, and Bill Callahan can work his magic there.
See,
anything more than 5, I'm out.
See, with Posick though, I would pay a little bit more than that just because he has the continuity with Watson already. Even if it was 6 games or whatever, he has that continuity with him. So Watson knows how he is. He knows how Watson is. And another thing is, this might be like a crazy hot take, but not hot takes like we used to have on this network. Just actual good hot takes. This might be Andrew Berry's best free agent signing that he's had in the 3 years he's had in Cleveland. I really mean that because last year, Nick Harris goes down. Who was backing up him?
Ethan Posick.
Ethan
was like the third guy that.
No, Ethan was the backup. But you're thinking
Ethan was
Dawson.
the swing guy. He was the swing guy. Yeah.
You're thinking of Dawson Deaton,
the other
the seventh round pick.
Dawson Deaton. They were looking at him, and then didn't he get hurt or?
Yeah, he tore his
Yeah,
ACL in practice right after Nick Harris tore his.
Has to be that guy, and he played phenomenal for us. Like he was a starter in Seattle, and then he really like revamped his career. And like he said, he wants to come back. Obviously the price has to go for him and for the team. I think this would be huge. I tweeted out the other night that when Mary Kay tweeted out that her story of he could come back. That would be so huge for this offense. And like you said, Zach, Andrew Berry wants this offensive line to stay. Giving Conklin another deal, and that is going to be a good deal if he stays healthy. Obviously, like any deal is going to be good as long as the health. But his is centered around his health, right? So I would love Pojic back here in Cleveland. That would be fantastic.
Oluwadami
And Harris
out of
and
Michigan. Yeah, he is. He's a fifth round. He's on a fifth round pick salary. This is one thing I will say, and I heard some other people talking about this. I'm not concerned who you signed on center because you took a dude that was not playing very well at all, and Bill Callahan coached the hell out of him. I don't really care. Put whoever Bill Callahan thinks will be good enough to be the starting center. If you want to pay him $2 million, pay him $2 million. If you want to pay him $10 million, pay him that. I don't really care. But I think that's the one position that I will vehemently trust this Browns staff to figure out. Anything on that offensive line, Bill Callahan's. He's going to take it. He's going to make it. Oh, Jordan Love. Oh, yeah. Oh, not Jordan Love. Julian Love. Julian Love.
We have our quarterback, Jacob.
Yeah, Jordan Love, dude.
Dude, we talked about like 25 guys in the last hour. And I'm just trying to get through the rest of them.
Surprisingly, there's one that we were talking about safeties. We didn't talk about Jordan Poyer much.
I love Jordan Poyer.
Tyler wanted to bring him back.
I'm for it, man, at the right price. I really am.
I think there's the three safeties at top, but I just realized that Jacob's we just named 20 guys in the past however long, and I was like, wait a minute, we didn't talk about Jordan Poyer. Hold on a second, because he was getting some buzz on social media because he was liking things fans are tweeting out oh, you look great in Miami next year. Hey, you're in Vegas, and there was another one. He liked all of those. Obviously, he's going to play this to his advantage and whatnot.
His Instagram model wife or girlfriend probably wants him to be in Miami.
Wow.
Who doesn't want to play for the Dolphins now? Okay. We got another comment here. I mean, we got all kinds of good comments. Like I said, if you guys have any final questions, feel free to send them. Probably wrapping it up here in a little bit. So Levante David. Not just Levante David, guys. Bobby Wagner. Any of these veteran linebackers. David Long, who played with Jim Schwartz. What are your guys' thoughts on adding a linebacker in free agency? I believe it needs done, or you can just roll it back with Anthony Walker and Sione Takitaki, which some suggest might end up happening. What are your guys' thoughts on the linebacker position? I'll start real quick because I'm going to make it short and sweet. Kaiser White from the Eagles would potentially be about a $3 to $4 million a year player overall. He grades out pretty well. He has played under Jim Schwartz when Jim Schwartz was in Philly. I believe I'm correct on that one. If I'm not, someone can roast me in the comment section. 67.2 overall grade. He's only going to be 27 years old. I mean, that's what I would do. If I'm adding out a linebacker that's not current, that didn't previously play for the Browns, that's who I'm going after.
Yeah, I'm just resigning Anthony Walker. That's where I am. I'm pretty content there. I think Tony Fields played really good as the backup will, so I think you got JOK and him at the will position. I am curious what they do at Sam. I don't think they're going to play a ton of three linebacker sets. They didn't this year either. So I don't know where you go there, but I'm good with Anthony Walker. But I mean, there's some names out there, but it's not going to be I don't see it being any kind of a splash, anything more than $4 or $5 million towards the position.
Yeah, give me Walker.
I think Reggie Ragland will be back.
I like Reggie Ragland, yeah.
Yeah, he'll get a
thumper.
chance to make it out of camp.
For me with linebacker, it's like the defensive running back. You don't need great linebackers anymore to win in the NFL. It's you don't need great running backs to win in the NFL. So I'm cool with bringing back Anthony Walker and Sione Takitaki because they're both playing well before they got hurt. Sione Takitaki, to me, earned an extension up to his injury. He stepped in different roles, and there was a lot of games I remember tweeting out like, wow, Sione Takitaki was all over that. Like, he's been in a bunch of these plays so far. And I was like, man, okay, cool. And then he kept like building on that. Then sadly he got hurt. But as long as he's healthy and they're both healthy and they both want to come back, then I just roll back with them, honestly.
Yeah. Real quick, we'll get to Ryan. We'll get to your question in a minute because I think that's a little bit longer discussion. MC Lawrence asks us, are we going with Mon as our backup or are we looking for someone else? I think Kellen Mond, first off, and then like Michael, he already took what I was going to say. Dorian Thompson-Robinson out of UCLA, I think, is someone they met with at the combine. 2, he's a mobile guy, 6'1", similar height to Deshaun Watson. I think they're going to try and make a play to draft him. Okay. That's why I think back. What are your guys' thoughts?
So, yeah, no, I think it's Kellen Mond. I mean, you don't put the investment they made in Kellen Mond and keeping him on the 53 and giving him a roster spot and all these things that they did last year to not kind of go forward with him, but they also got a really good look at him. So I guess they could say, oh, I got a good look at him and he was terrible. So we're gonna move past that. But right now, as we sit on the eve of legal tampering, I think it's Kellen Mond.
What about like? I don't think it's gonna happen. What about like Teddy Bridgewater or something like that?
It's fine, yeah. I
don't know if we're gonna give him another quarterback like $6 million a year, but
someone I saw, I forget who it was, or maybe just some random person on Twitter. I don't remember. I'm sorry if you're hearing this and I forget. They said, what about Josh Rosen? Like there's another
Josh Rosen
pick and like
keep an eye on.
Huh?
Just keep an eye on it.
You remember that from Josina last year? Keep an eye on Josh Rosen.
I still never understood that. I never one time
still watching.
Still waiting.
Maybe
I'm waiting for his USFL debut.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, a name that Brad Stainbrook just floated out on Twitter to watch, Nicholas Morrow, the linebacker from the Bears.
Dude,
career high 93 solo tackles this year, 48 stop tackles.
Also, real quick, guys, if you guys are joining us and you're on Twitter, make sure that you're not just retweeting things from people who claim they're insiders. Like, if you're going to say Javon Hargrave, first off, spell his name right, please. Don't say Jason Hartgrove to the Browns with sirens. Like, I just got to say that because, like, guys, what are we doing?
What did I miss?
If you're going to at least – someone's tagging me like, oh, Jason Hartgrove to the Browns. Who? Who's that?
I don't know who that is.
I had to do that, man, because I'm sick of that.
Son.
Probably a star high school basketball player in Missouri or something. So
I want to see if it's a person. Hold on.
It's Mike Hargrove, former Indians baseball coach, son.
Oh
he's going to work. He's going to work at the concession stand this summer. So Jason Hargrove to the Browns is true.
That is an interesting question that we were just asked sitting on our screen. That
we got 2 final questions. We got that one, and then we have the one from Evan Brown.
Don't look up who Jason Hargrove is. It's a sad story.
Okay.
He was a bus driver that no, really, this is a thing. I looked it up. He was a bus driver that posted a video in April of 2020, or I'm sorry, not April of 2020, but March of 2020. He was really upset about a coughing passenger getting on his bus, and he died 11 days later of COVID.
Wow.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
How's he?
Nope.
So now he's going to the Browns. I don't know.
I don't think we should touch that one. That one just
nope.
But the question here: would you guys trade Chubb if a top flight wide receiver requested a trade? I mean, depends on who the receiver is. But if it came down to it, yes, I would do that. And I believe me and someone were talking on Twitter a few weeks ago, or whenever this discussion was. I wrote about this. I jumped on that. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna, I instead I put no trade alert, but Chubb should be limited in 2023. Not get the 300 carries, get 204 or whatever. And if someone was talking to me about one of the Eagles receivers, whether it was AJ Brown or Devontae Smith, yeah, give me either of those. Like, if it says, hey, you can have Devontae Smith for Nick Chubb straight up, Okay, sorry, Chubb. I love you. I hope you retire, Brown. I hope you're in the Browns Hall of Fame one day. But give me that.
Man, if you trade Nick Chubb before June 1st, that's an $8 million dead cap this year.
They are not. First off, for everyone listening to this, I'm going to freak out, and they're not going to trade Nick Chubb. That's just not. They said they have no plans to be part of the core, but there are points of view from why they would trade it. So just think of it that way. And I'm not. And I've said in numerous articles I've written, I've gotten bashed on Twitter and in the comments on dogpounddaily.com that you're an idiot. You shouldn't trade Chubb. He's this, and this. Okay, but multiple times I've said I would not trade him unless the perfect deal came up. That's it.
Right.
If a perfect deal fell into the lap, give me that. Outside of that, let me have Chubb, even with his $12 million.
So you're saying if somebody right now, clip this right here, Eddie thinks you should trade him for a sack of potatoes. In clip.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, the question I need to know in this scenario who the receiver is first off, because to me that matters. I mean, I'm not trading him for a number 2 wide receiver. That said, I think, and I've made peace with it personally, I think this is Nick Chubb's last year in Cleveland, just due to the contract for one, due to his potential age, and due to the fact that, I mean, especially depending on what we do in free agency, at some point, man, you got to make some tough decisions. And it's a decision everyone's going to hate, including myself. It's going to be painful because I love Nick Chubb. I love everything he's brought to the Browns, to Cleveland, the person he is. It's just the reality that I've made peace with. I just see the writing on the wall, the way the contract is structured. I'm glad they're not trading him this offseason. I want one run with Watson at quarterback because Nick Chubb deserves that.
Yeah,
so
100%.
After that, it's going to be an unfortunate decision that Andrew Berry's going to have to make. That's where I'm at with it personally. I would do it. I would do it. But again, this would have to be a really top flight receiver if you're going to eat $8 million in dead cap. And then if you're getting a top flight receiver, how much is that contract? That's the other thing. So anyone else want to weigh in on that one before we end it with our final question?
No, it's too hard to say. Would I trade Chubb? Yes. I'll throw it at a receiver out there. So say Miami, Tyreek Hill wakes up tomorrow and says, I don't want to play with Tua. I don't know where his head is at. Like, is he going to be able to come back and play? I demand a trade. If Miami said, hey, we want to build an offense, would I trade Nick Chubb for Tyreek Hill? Hell yeah. Give me Tyreek.
I would not.
Give me Jalen Waddle.
I don't even think I would.
Give me Jalen Waddle. Give me DK Metcalf. Give me
DJ Brown.
He was just trying to give an example. I was like, "Oh God,
dude!" I'm just saying. I'm
Tyreek Hill.
No, I do, but I just he's paid, bro.
Right.
he is paid.
but I think the point was the caliber of player.
Yeah, that's fair.
But nobody's doing that in today's NFL. I mean, look, Derrick Henry's supposedly available, and I haven't heard one peep.
Yes,
after they ran him to the ground.
You should not pay a running back over $10 million. You shouldn't even pay him over $8 million, in my opinion. But obviously, we are. I love Nick Chubb. I hope he gets all of his money. I hope he rushes as well as he possibly gets. The best he's ever rushed this year. Not necessarily like his highest production. The best he's ever rushed, like volume-wise. Give me that and let him cook in the playoffs. You know, he'll be fresh if he gets lesser carries this year. Let him cook in the playoffs. Please let us make the playoffs. God, for this one another time, please. One playoff appearance again, please.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we need a playoff appearance for the sake of all of our sanity so we don't go crazy. All right, guys, I want to wrap it up with this. This is fun. Who is a dark horse free agent you guys think we sign? I'm not even going to say it's a dark horse because I've talked about him ad nauseum at this point. Ogbenia Okonkwo. Make it happen. That's not even a dark horse. For me, it's just it's a no-brainer on so many levels for the Browns. I would go out and get him. I wouldn't think twice. And then I think it's safety. At safety, I'm gonna say 3 guys we're gonna sign. I think we all should do this. Let's just have some fun. 3 guys that we think the Browns are gonna sign. I think Ogbenia Okonkwo, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and Draymond Jones.
Can I do a dark horse and then 3?
dude. Let's just do that. Dude, this is fun. Let's just do this.
Okay, I'll do a dark horse and then I'll do 3. My dark horse is Hayden Hurst, the tight end that was with Cincy last year. Mary Kay has already connected the Browns and Hayden Hurst, and I think, yeah, that'd be cool. I really like that. I'm going A'Shawn Robinson as one because I do really think that they don't want to spend a ton of money at the position. They understand that they were historically bad run defense last year. So I'll take Draymond Jones. I'll take A'Shawn Robinson, and I'll take Okonkwo as well because I think that's a pretty good. That's a completely retooled defensive line that I feel like can help you compete in the playoffs.
I love that, dude.
Okay, so I'll dark horse. It's sort of a dark horse, but not really. OBJ. I think I'll just pick him as my guy. That I don't necessarily think we do sign him. He might get a better offer from Dallas or insert any of the other 12
Jets,
teams.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Yes, back to the other New York team, the Giants, possibly. But I would go Jones, Johnson, and I always butcher his last name. Or how do you say Yannick's last name?
Ngakwe.
Yeah, that I can never say that. So I'm gonna go with him because that's someone I really wish is in Cleveland because he's had interest in Cleveland. Cleveland's had interest in him. It didn't work out. Was he the one who went through a new agent and it fizzled out? Is that what Mary Kay said? Okay,
Yep.
So and he's been playing well the past couple of years. So give me him. So that's who I
like Jones. I like Gardner Johnson. That's one of it went from I keep going between Bates and Gardner Johnson.
Flip a coin.
I'm fine with either.
I want Gardner Johnson now. I want him, dude. I like the Swiss Army knife on that back end over there. My dark horse is Julian Love. So
Okay.
Zach, who are your other two? Who else we signing?
I said Jones and Gardner Johnson are the two that I mainly
Gotcha.
want, and Julian Love is my dark horse.
Okay, Mikey
All right,
P.
Mikey P. You're on the spot.
So my 3, Draymond Jones, Jesse Bates, and Walker from Tennessee as another one of the defensive ends. And my dark horse, Fletcher Cox, somebody to bring in the defense that plays with a mean streak, knows Schwartz, and can kind of be that guy in that front 7 needs.
I love it. Truly.
It's almost Christmas Eve almost, it feels like.
Yeah.
It does.
Dude, it is.
Yeah.
And it's spring break at OU, so the students, I don't have to deal with as much bull crap this week. So we're having
all right.
So
and the
while we have so many of you guys on here, Wednesday at 4:00, a special edition of the Faithful Dogs podcast.
Petty Eddie, basically. Petty Eddie.
Yeah. We are having a free agency preview show. 4:00, as soon as the new NFL league year opens, we will be live on YouTube. You guys aren't going to want to miss it. We're looking 4 to 7. Maybe we go a little bit later, depending on what happens. We're breaking down everything, not just Browns, everything NFL, all the moves, trades, signings, rumors. We're going to have it all for you guys. Make sure you don't miss out on this show. We're going to be posting it here on social media probably sometime tomorrow. Don't miss it. Share it. Spread the word. Be sure, again, to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I promise it's worth it because it's free, for one.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I just did mock draft 5.0 on the channel over the weekend. Came out on Saturday. I got really weird. If you think I got weird with 5.0, wait till you see 6.0 because I got weird as hell today on Browns mock draft 6.0. So just wait until you get that. Tuesday, Mikey. Well, you guys are good 7 on Tuesday, right? You guys are
Tuesday. Yard Dogs will be on from Tuesday from 7 to 8, and then the week after next, we'll have on our Tuesday show talking about all the Browns free agent moves. We'll have Ken Carman on the show on the following Tuesday. So.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna follow it up with my lame shit, but like Tuesday 8 o'clock right after the Yard Dogs, me and Nick Carnes will be live here to wrap up the first couple of the 2 days of legal tampering. We'll be here live 8 o'clock on the channel.
Hey, and I just want to plug. We already plugged that my show and the Faithful Dogs podcast is going to do a joint thing, and we're going to have other members of the network with us. But go to Homage, please. Homage.com. Make sure you go there. This hoodie, that shirt. I don't know if either of you guys are wearing anything. The Blitz shirt I see. Zach, you have the Browns. Is that the Bud Light shirt?
That's the Bud Light
Dilly
shirt.
dilly.
There it is. But make sure to go check them out. Great partner with us. They have a great new line of MLB satin jackets. If you were a fan of the NFL ones, I don't know if you guys have them, but I have one and they're fantastic. Check out the MLB ones. All of them look sick outside of the Yankees one. Looks gross. That burn that. But the Guardians one looks fantastic. The Braves one looks fantastic. I think it was the Angels I saw that was the red team that looked fantastic.
Mhm.
All of them look fantastic. Homage.com, and make sure to check all of our links because we have all of our sites on social media because we tweet out links all the time and retweet and like links. So Homage.com, please go check them out and support them because we do and they support us. And thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys, especially. And tomorrow morning, it's going to be a special 8 o'clock edition. The last Browns free agent target series ends tomorrow. It's going to be one a lot of you have not been asking me for, but I know a lot of you would like to see on the Browns. So just a heads up there. You're going to want to make sure you don't miss it. That's on the YouTube channel. Again, subscribe to the channel so you get those notifications for when we post videos for you guys. Drop a like on this video. I want to thank everyone that tuned in tonight. I mean, at times we had 80 of you, and that's on all social media channels watching us. This has been our most popular show so far for Network 216. Thank you guys all for that. If you guys continue to show the interest, we will have more and more Network 216 exclusives. So thank you guys all.
Hey, bracket too.
Yep, exactly. I was going to talk about that. I put it in the chat earlier, but guys, go to Network 216 on Twitter at Network 216 and join the tournament challenge. All you got to do, click the link. You just have to join, fill out a bracket. If you win, you have an opportunity to choose a Homage shirt of your choice. So go see if you can take us down here at Network 216. And
hey, Kent State first round. Spoiler for you, Kent State round 1 they win. Book that.
Oral
Right
Roberts
Spoiler alert, I'm picking them to win it all.
okay, well,
Yeah.
okay, let's bet money on that on the side.
Long distance.
We'll talk about that later.
But anyway, thank you all for tuning in to tonight's Network 216 exclusive. We will be talking to you all next week. And go Browns, baby.
Go Browns.
Chocolate
Browns.
caramel
Browns.
pudding.
Banana bread.
Yeah.